Hey, I'm Joshua, Moses' most trusted warrior and his right-hand man. The things I've seen? You probably won't believe this. I watched the Red Sea split in half, saw bread literally rain down from heaven. For 40 years, we were led by pillars of fire and cloud. Sounds crazy, right? And now, we were facing Canaan, the promised land. But here's the thing, it wasn't ours yet, and we couldn't just walk in. Some seriously powerful people were living there. That's when God spoke to Moses. Send one spy from each tribe. So 12 of us were chosen. Me and my friend Caleb were among them. Being a spy? Sounds cool, right? But sneaking into enemy territory? Man, my heart was about to burst. You know that moment when we first stepped into that land? Total shock. After 40 years in the desert, seeing Canaan was just mind-blowing. Rivers flowing, fields full of crops, trees loaded with fruit. It was exactly what they called it. The land flowing with milk and honey. But wait, there's more. The walls, they reached up to the sky? And the people living there? They looked like giants to us. Caleb and I were hiding on this hill, watching them, barely daring to breathe. That's when this quiet prayer came from my heart. God, are you really giving us this land? Want to hear something funny? Right then, this weird certainty hit me. Yeah, these people were strong, their walls were high, and we probably looked weak. But if God was on our side, who cares about all that? We decided to bring back some evidence, and this is where it gets hilarious. The grapes were so huge it took 2 guys with a pole just to carry 1 cluster. Can you picture that? That's how rich this land was. 40 days later, everyone was waiting for us back at camp. We showed them those grapes and said, "Look, this is what grows there. It really is a land flowing with milk and honey." But then, the other spies started talking.
Wait a minute. Yeah, the land is amazing, but what we saw,
Their voices started shaking.
we looked like grasshoppers. Compared to them, there's no way we can win.
The whole camp went into panic mode instantly. People started wailing, even talking about going back to Egypt. My heart was pounding. Caleb suddenly stood up.
Everyone, quiet. Let's go up and take this land right now. We can do this.
I found my courage and shouted too. People, God is on our side. This is the land he promised us. What's there to be afraid of? But people just wouldn't listen. Instead, they tried to stone us. Can you believe it? Almost got killed for telling the truth. That's when God's glory suddenly appeared and everyone hit the ground. God's voice made us all tremble.
How long will these people refuse to believe in me? After all the miracles I performed right in front of them.
That's when I knew. Something big was about to go down. God's verdict was harsh.
Fine. They'll spend 40 years in the wilderness they're so afraid of. Only Joshua and Caleb will see the promised land.
When those words hit, my heart sank. 40 years? Back to the wilderness? But that became our destiny. 40 years later, now I'm the leader of Israel. Moses. He's not with us anymore. His last words to me still echo in my ears.
Joshua, be strong and courageous.
God said the same thing. Don't be afraid, Joshua. I'll be with you. So here we are, facing the Jordan River. The same land I saw 40 years ago is just across there. This time it's going to be different. That moment crossing the Jordan, I'll never forget it. Just like when we saw the Red Sea split 40 years ago, God showed us another miracle. The moment the priest carrying the ark stepped into the water, the river split in 2, and then there it was, Jericho. Those walls we'd heard so much about. Looking at them up close, even more intimidating. How were we supposed to bring these down? That's all anyone could think about. But God's battle plan? When I first heard it, I was like, wait, what? March around the city. Once a day for 6 days? On the 7th day, march around it 7 times and blow the trumpets. Just march around it? That's it? I mean, normally, what would you do? Attacking a city needs chariots, weapons, strategy meetings, right? But God was just telling us to walk around it. No weapons, no siege engines, nothing. The first day, I still remember how the Jericho people reacted. At first they were tense, but then it turned into mockery. We could hear them laughing and taunting us from the walls.
What are they doing?
Are they crazy?
Is this supposed to be some kind of strategy?
Second day, third day, doing the same thing over and over. Honestly, even our soldiers were getting tired. Someone whispered,
Joshua, is this really going to work?
I just told them to trust God, but truth is, I had questions in my mind too. On the 7th morning, we moved before dawn. This was different. Not 1 lap, but 7. 5 laps, 6 laps. By the time we hit that 7th lap, everyone's legs were shaking. That's when I shouted, "Blow the trumpets! Let out your war cry!" The trumpets blasted and thousands of voices pierced the sky. And then, boom! It started with a small tremor, but it grew and grew, and suddenly those massive walls started crumbling like a sandcastle. People couldn't believe their eyes. Neither could I. The invincible walls of Jericho, the ones no army could break, just collapsed at the sound of our shouts. After that, we conquered Canaan piece by piece. The mistake at Ai and what we learned from it, the covenant with the Gibeonites and that battle with the 5 kings. I'll never forget when God made the sun and moon stand still. Finally, we took the land, just like God promised. We're not wanderers anymore. We're the owners of this land. I learned something. God's ways can be completely different from what makes sense to us. Sometimes you don't have to understand. You just need to obey. It took 40 years, but he kept his promise. All we had to do was believe and obey. God's promises never fail. That's my story. From Moses' warrior to God's general. And isn't it amazing how it all started with one choice? That moment 40 years ago when we said, we can do this while looking at the land.
Sunday Shake.